that we ever expected with the Princess of Wales.
Thank you for having me on the show today, and of course, very sad news from London. The Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton, is hugely popular, of course, with the British people. She's greatly loved, and so this is immensely sad news. But also at the same time, I think, as Martha McCallum mentioned earlier, the British people will be rallying around the Princess of Wales at this time, supporting her, praying for her, and hoping that she has a swift and full recovery.
Yeah, so quick heads up, Kate Middleton, Catherine Middleton, she is the wife to the heir of the throne. She has apparently cancer. This is some form of abdominal cancer. We're not sure what that is, whether it's of the abdominal cavity or of the stomach or of the liver. We're not sure right now. That is unspecified what the type of cancer is. Also, it looks like just breaking at the moment here, there is some form of a shooting that just broke out at a concert hall near Moscow. What a day of news here. 14 dead after shooting, 100 people evacuated from the basement of a concert hall near Moscow. Okay, but anyway, it's just terrible. I hate hearing about these shootings. It's just terrible. This is in Moscow. But focusing here, she is having, Kate Middleton says she's having preventive chemotherapy. You don't really have preventive chemotherapy, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but you generally, you have cancer, you don't. Chemotherapy is designed to help prevent the spread. It does look like this might explain why, not that there's an excuse for it, but it might explain why the doctored photo was used. This is obviously the Photoshop photo where there were a lot of questions over why are some parts blurry, why are other parts not blurry in photos? Like, you've got the knee over here, you've got some bizarre things going on with hands, you've got overlays of essentially the Kate Middleton photo with her magazine Vogue cover shot that really imply that her Photoshop photo was really just taking her head from her magazine photo shoot, putting it in with the photo of the children, and implying that was her current state, when the reality is she has cancer. And so she may, if she's undergoing chemotherapy, it's possible that she's lost her hair. Here is, by the way, that transition photo that you could kind of see, where if you look at this, this is sort of a video that plays. This is the Vogue photo, and if you watch, you could somewhat see how potentially that was exactly the same photo that was used. Now, I showed this to Lauren, and Lauren suggested, well, people can have the same smile. And this is true. One of the things that I did notice, though, is her hair in the photo seems to be, when we look closely, it's a little hard with the way this photo was edited. Let me get a non-edited Vogue version of that. But when we do an overlay, we can actually see the hair looks very similar, which somewhat implies that you have, here's one with less contrast. This will be better. And I think we all agree that the photo was manipulated. But pay specific attention to, where is it? Can we get it? No, I can't get a good photo right now. I'm trying to see if I can get it. No. There. Okay. It's a little hard to tell, but this is what some folks have pointed out. Some folks have pointed out that the core of her hair right here is exactly the same. Almost exactly untouched, with like the strands of hair right here matching exactly in the two images. Now, of course, a lot of the rest has been manipulated, but some people suggest that you could even see some strands over here that look like exactly the same in positioning. And so I think it's very clear that we know this photo has been manipulated. There's no question about that. Now the issue is, it looks like we have a video statement out from her, and it is that she has cancer. Let's listen in.
Undergoing chemotherapy. Now, again, there are many different regimens of chemotherapy, and they all come with various different side effects. However, some of the most common side effects is severe nausea, fatigue. Some people will lose their hair. Some people will have, neuropathy or nerve change sensations. It's certainly very hard on the individual. And then when you add, still being a mommy to 3 children, I mean, there's also a mental component that is just as hard as physical.
Yeah, Doc.
Let's go listen to the video. So she hasn't lost her hair, to confirm, but it looks like to put the speculation to rest, we have a video from her. Let's go ahead and get this video playing here. Stand by for just 1 second. There we go. Okay, and audio's on this channel. Let's go.
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery. It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family, but I've had a fantastic medical team who have taken great care of me, for which I'm so grateful. In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present. My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment.
It's terrible. Like, I really feel bad about this. Like, health issues are just so terrible. And then the amount of controversy that she's gone through after her surgery probably just honestly added, like, mental cancer on top of physical cancer that she has. So I'm assuming there was probably some form of removal of a growth. Maybe it was thought to be a benign tumor in her abdomen. That was then removed and biopsied, and the biopsy came out and suggested that maybe it was precancerous. Maybe that's why they're calling this preventative care. Precancerous is usually considered stage 0 cancer, and then of course you could progress from there. Stage 1, 2, 3, 4. Usually get to stage 3 when you're really getting to some of these dangerous levels. Stage 4 is usually when you're in metastasis and it's likely beyond recovery. It's unclear what stage we're in. By them suggesting preventive chemotherapy, that could be a way of saying, hey, whatever growth there was has been removed, and we're doing preventive chemotherapy to sort of radiate or whatever, that would, radiation therapy is an option, obviously, as well. Chemotherapy is chemical-based, to basically destroy whatever might be left. So you could take the cocktails of chemotherapy, you could do radioactive therapy or whatever to the specific location to minimize potentially any regrowth of leftover cancer. Remember that when you have cancer, you can remove the actual growth, but what you generally also do is you remove what's called a margin of millimeters around the cancer. But that's problematic when you're taking more margin around from sensitive organs. It becomes very difficult. Now, my wife Lauren argues that she is probably in this video wearing a high-quality wig, that she may have indeed lost her hair, and that this could be a very expensive custom-fitted wig. I think that's probably a good thesis, especially given how long the hair here is. It could be a wig with extensions. Let's go ahead and listen here.
This, of course, came as a huge shock, and William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family. As you can imagine, this has taken time. It has taken me time to recover from major surgery in order to start my treatment. But most importantly, it has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte, and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay. As I've said to them, I am well and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal in my mind, body, and spirits. Having William by my side is a great source of comfort and reassurance too, as is the love, support, and kindness that has been shown by so many of you. It means so much to us both. We hope that you'll understand that as a family, we now need some time, space, and privacy while I complete my treatment. My work has always brought me a deep sense of joy, and I look forward to being back when I'm able. But for now, I must focus on making a full recovery. At this time, I'm also thinking of all those whose lives have been affected by cancer.
Yeah.
For everyone facing this disease, in whatever form, Please do not lose faith or hope. You are not alone.
Ooh, boy, that's really, really intense. So keep in mind, this comes after King Charles, who basically just became the king after the Queen died. In January 2024, he underwent a corrective procedure at the London clinic to treat benign prostate enlargement. And so that led a lot of people to speculate that he had prostate cancer. In February, they announced that cancer had been discovered, but it was not prostate cancer. So now you have 2 people in the family with cancer. It's just quite terrible. It's a terrible disease. Anybody who has it, I feel so miserably for. We just, underwent such a horrible health scare with our baby Summer, our newborn, who's been in 3 surgeries and been alive for less than 30 days. And I'll tell you, there's nothing more weakening than medical issues, because there's nothing you can do sometimes. It's extremely frustrating and very, very discouraging. Let's keep listening here. Cancer, and she's only 42. Keep that in mind, too.
My mind was, so she's probably having a hysterectomy, because she has alluded in the past that she does have some gynecological issues. And again, most abdominal surgeries in a 40-something-year-old woman tend to be for benign reasons. Even if there is a tumor, it tends to be benign. So this was probably quite a shock to her. She is quite young. She's still younger than the average person to have an ovarian cancer or any other gynecological malignancy. But again, it could be something else. It could be something a little bit more obscure. Appendiceal cancers, rising from the appendix, is also on the rise in young women. And this is something that was just reported on last summer. And, until we get that final pathology, I'm going to, kind of hard what to say, but common things being common, I would be looking at this point to some sort of gynecologic malignancy. Most tend to arise from the tubes that connect the ovaries to the uterus.
So, Doc, when we talk about the way forward, former colleague of mine had clear cell carcinoma on an ovary. It was found early. It was actually operated on at Memorial Sloan Kettering, round of chemotherapy. Former colleague's been cancer-free for almost a decade now. So what's the way forward for her in terms of treatment? How long she'll be in chemotherapy? How the monitoring after that?
You just have no idea what it is.
Once you have a cancer diagnosis,
the idea that it could be, of the uterus or of the ovaries, that's an idea. But frankly, we've seen more and more stomach cancer or even stomach lining cancer in younger and younger people. I just had a good friend, and it's terrible, lose their wife. She was like 24, 25. To a cancer that contributed to a massive growth in her essentially gut, and she's in her mid-20s. It's disgusting, and it happens. So it could be stomach, it could be uterine. I suppose if there's a benefit to uterine is that you could remove the uterus. It just means not having children anymore. But as we heard, hysterectomies or just complete removal. These are common procedures. They induce, I believe afterwards they induce menopause instantly, but and then you can get on from that and move on. So we don't know exactly whether this was a tumor, a growth that they thought was non-cancerous and now is, or if it has to do with reproductive organs. Something that does cause cancer as well is HPV, HPV like 16, 18, for example. These are very, very spreadable, hard to detect in men, easier to detect in women. There is actually an HPV vaccine, but most people don't get it early enough. If you were to get it, you generally have to get it before you're 25 years old. But these cause cancers in women as well. So let's see what we have here.
In the form of a video from the Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton, about a diagnosis following surgery that she had in January. The world had wondered what in the heck was going on. There was all sorts of rank speculation about what it might be. Kate put that speculation to rest a short time ago. Let's replay that video for you now.
We just listened to it. We can rewind on that and listen to the video. But cervical cancer is the most common cancer linked to people with HPV. Nearly all cervical cancers are caused by HPV. So if you're not familiar with HPV, look into HPV 16-18. Very commonly sexually transmitted disease. It is preventable via the Gardasil vaccine. Causes cancer in men as well. Throat cancer, mouth cancer. Anyway, we don't know if it's that. That's pure speculation. Again, could be stomach, could be reproductive. No clear indication of what it is at this point. A lot of people are now speculating on the media. Hey, if it's early stage, you could be at a survival rate as high as 80-90%. MSNBC had a doctor commenting on that. 5-year survival rates, 80-90%. The problem with so many of these cancers is that you get cancer once and then it just pops up somewhere else. It's devastating. It's like this endless battle. But this is clearly a response to put to bed the disaster that has been going on in the PR department of the Crown. Let's listen in. Well, we've listened to this portion so far. Let's jump for a moment. We were on Fox here. Let's listen here for a moment to see what commentary we're on this topic as well.
To her family and to her health, as she said. But she will be very aware of the need to also, for other people to be seen as, in a sense, as a role model for how one handles such awfulness in such a public arena.
Richard, stay with us. I just want to play for viewers who are just joining us, because it was at the top of the hour, 2 o'clock, that the announcement was made. A video was released by Kensington Palace. I just want to play that video again. It's about 2 minutes, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay. They're also going back to playing that video. We've done that twice, or we've done that once, so we could rewind and see that. It looks like they're also still playing that video. So, we've seen the video. I'm just reading through. We've got, again, her announcement that she has cancer, undergoing a preventative chemotherapy. Again, that's not a doctor saying that. That's her saying that. I don't know if this is actually preventative. It's a pretty huge shock. We've got, let's see, King Charles receiving cancer. And let's see. She had planned abdominal surgery January 17th. Wouldn't return to public duties until after Easter, which will be observed on March 31st in the United Kingdom. Speculation amplified after Prince William failed to attend a February 27th memorial service for King Constantine of Greece. He was due to give a reading, but withdrew less than an hour before the event. See, that's not great either, because that suggests there's potentially more exigence to this diagnosis than we're being told of. Prince William not going to an event that he's scheduled to go to a month ago does seem a little problematic. Palace subsequently released a photo of Catherine and her 3 children on Mother's Day. This is obviously the photo that a lot of folks were concerned was manipulated. I do want to say this Moscow news continues to break as well about a significant terrorist attack that has occurred at the Crocus Concert Hall in the Russian capital of Moscow. 4 gunmen armed with semi-automatic and automatic rifles. Let's just quickly do a quick little update on the title here and Moscow shooting. Quickly give some credence to what we have going on in Moscow as well. This is, it does look like the building is also now on fire. So you've got a lot going on all at the same time. This shooting in Moscow, as well as the cancer diagnosis reveal of Kate Middleton. We are now looking at, let's see here, regarding the shooting, the latest updates we have here. It looks like large explosions occurred in the concert hall shortly after. And the concert hall is now on fire. There are a lot of, unfortunately, very graphic videos on social media about the shooting, which we are not going to show the graphic portions, but let's go ahead and show the fire at least. That's the concert hall. Hear people running from the concert hall in Moscow. Wow. These people have been running for a while to get away from that. This is really intense. Wow. Wow. How interesting. This is now leading to some conspiracies, given that the U.S. Embassy posted a pretty significant alert. Let me see this. This looks like... Let me try to fact check this. U.S. Embassy and consulates in Russia. Security alert. Avoid large gatherings over the next 48 hours. Are you serious? The CIA knew? But that was posted March 7th. Hold on a sec. Let's see if we can actually get an update on that. We're waiting for this to update this. Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago. But it does look like the embassy is monitoring reports that extremists have imminent plans to target large gatherings in Moscow, including concerts. Wow. Yeah, their website isn't loading right now, but I have a screenshot of it here. I'm going to put up on screen in just a moment. This is really interesting. So let's jump for a moment. Context switching. Here we go. Tab 4. Look at this. The U.S. Embassy in Russia issued a very strange message about an imminent terrorist attack against crowds in Moscow in the next 48 hours. They knew it was going to happen. Keep in mind, this was posted March 7th, and the terror attack occurred now, which is about 2 weeks later, 2 weeks and a day. The embassy is monitoring reports that extremists have imminent plans to target large gatherings in Moscow, including concerts. And U.S. citizens should be advised to avoid large gatherings over the next 48 hours. Moscow just canceled all weekend mass gatherings. An unidentified men in camouflage broke into the Crocus City Hall near Moscow and opened fire. And this is all breaking news, all happening at the same time. According to Russian state media, specialized units of the Russian National Guard and Federal Security Service have reportedly started arriving at the concert hall in Moscow. Footage from inside the concert hall is pretty intense. I don't think we see any particular footage here of an injury. Let me see here. Quick note. We do have the expiration of the coupon code today, so I'm just going to put a banner there at the bottom regarding the stocks and psych course. But I don't want to spend too much time on that. I want to focus on this. Let's listen to this for a moment here.
Что происходит?
This looks like an after fact.
Ничего не понимаю. Что, стреляют?
This is a video here of people evacuating from after the shooting. The U.S. Embassy, by the way, is, you know, there's a conspiracy that the U.S. essentially knew about this particular event, or that the U.S. is involved in the event. Let's see. That being posted March 7th on the embassy release is pretty intense. Okay, let me see if I can get a little bit more here to share. There's a lot on what's going on here. Let's see. Here's another one. Oh yeah, here's video of the fire. Let's go. Hold on a sec. How long is this going? Hold on a sec.
Что происходит? Это не я. Выталкивайте, пожалуйста. Егор. В смысле стреляют? Господи. Мама.
It's clearly somebody trying to leave. It's pretty distressing. Take a look over here. This is a video of fire, of the concert hall on fire. Oh my gosh. The whole thing's engulfed. Wow. Holy smokes. What is happening right now? This is crazy. You've also got... This is audio from the car. There are definitely some people claiming already that this apparent terrorist attack is some form of false flag. I think it's too early to really make claims like this. Here's another video showing the concert hall and some police response here. This thing is engulfed. It looks like it's going to be a total loss. I mean, you see fire on the bottom floor. I'll hide myself for a second. And the top floor. The entire thing is engulfed. Holy smokes. Yeah, this is intense. So you've got a lot going on right now. You've got Kate Middleton has cancer. You've got a very bad attack that has occurred in Moscow at a concert hall. There are, it looks like, multiple shooters that broke in right into the front door. And there are disturbing videos online about what look like 4 shooters. Entering and breaking glass as they enter the locked doors of the concert hall. There, one of them doesn't appear. I'm just verbalizing some of this because it's too graphic to show here. But you have 4 folks breaking in. One of them does not appear to be shooting. 4 of them are shooting with what look like certainly automatic rifles. And again, minimizing some of what we're showing. And it looks like they essentially just walked in the front door. It doesn't look like there's any kind of visible uniform or insignia that we can tell from here. However, this does occur just a week after Putin is elected. Some people believe that this will be used to justify a stronger incursion into Ukraine. That this will be used to set up for more, animosity between the West and Russia. That this attack will be blamed on Ukraine or Nazis or whatever, as we've heard Putin say before. Again, this is all breaking at the same time as we have the Kate Middleton disaster. Let's listen in here for a moment.
But undoubtedly, of course, there has been a lot of secrecy surrounding the health of the Princess of Wales. That is not unusual, of course, when it comes to members of the royal family. And the palace, of course, is very, very protective, of course, of members of the royal family. They've been very protective, of course, of the king as well, in terms of his diagnosis. And I expect they will continue to be very, very, very protective in terms of the messaging. But I expect really the whole country is going to rally around the Princess of Wales now and around the monarchy also. And I think that the British people will be cheering on the Princess of Wales, hoping for a very swift...
Absolutely. Now, keep in mind this, just context switching here. I'm sorry, it's two sets of breaking news at the same time here. It looks like the concert hall had a capacity of 6,200 individuals, and that the event was sold out tonight. And if we take a look here, I want you to see this. I just took a screenshot of this. This was a March 7th alert. So I want to be clear, a lot of people are saying this alert was recent. This was March 7th, but it does specifically say the embassy is monitoring reports that extremists have imminent plans to target large gatherings in Moscow, to include concerts. U.S. citizens are advised to avoid large gatherings, avoid crowds, monitor your local media, be aware of your surroundings, and this is part of a do not travel alert to Moscow. The Chechen leader, Kadyrov, I'm sure I butchered that, just released a statement. I strongly condemn such acts of violence, brutality, and recklessness. We believe at this point there are 40 killed in a terror attack. You have cellular communications in Moscow not working well. Helicopters now arriving to report a fire, or to fight the fire. I see this from Reuters. Helicopters trying to extinguish fire at concert hall. Yikes. Let's see here. This is all regarding the attack. We're unsure if the shooters have been neutralized at this point, or how much of the attack is still ongoing, but we know that the concert hall in Russia is on fire now. This is occurring at the same time, of course, as we get breaking news that Kate Middleton has cancer.
Fight against this cancer with all of her heart, and she'll win it on behalf of the royal family, but also on behalf of the British people. I think she's going to prevail and succeed in defeating this cancer.
You know, obviously on this side of the Atlantic, there are a lot of Americans heavily invested in seeing some kind of a reconciliation between formerly Prince Harry, who now lives here, and William. Do you think this might open the door? You know, sometimes families going through tragedy are brought closer together. Might this prompt some kind of a reconciliation, do you think, or no chance?
That's a great question. That remains to be seen. I'm not hopeful on that front. I think there's immense bad blood, of course, between William and Harry, and I think this is largely driven, of course, by Harry and Meghan's relentless attacks upon the royal family, and some of the nasty things have been said about the Princess of Wales and the Prince of Wales by especially Meghan Markle. I think she has said a lot of very unpleasant things, and Harry has just stood there and accepted it. So I don't think we're going to see a reconciliation between William and Harry anytime soon. And I think that really Harry has to make an apology to William and to Kate really before anything can move forward here. And I think the relentless attacks upon the monarchy from...
Okay, it is possible that hundreds of people are potentially being held hostage at this point, given that the building is on fire, is a very big issue. SWAT teams have arrived, but the building is on fire. So what do you do? This has to do with the Moscow shooting that's breaking at the same time as this Kate Middleton story.
I think for both Harry and Meghan, to the Prince and Princess of Wales, and to the British royal family as a whole.
All right, Niall, we've got to leave it there. Thank you so much for jumping in, sharing your expertise with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it now. Let's now go to Duncan Larcombe. He is the former royal editor of The Sun. Duncan, I'm sure you were shocked as the rest of us were.
Hi, yes. I mean, it has been a big shock. I mean, obviously, when the palace announced that Kate was going to spend 2 weeks in hospital for abdominal surgery and then need a 3 months recovery, I think everybody knew that was something quite serious, but I don't think any of us envisaged that it would be as serious as what we've now discovered this evening.
So what do you make of the fact that this announcement comes from Kate directly, put forward obviously in a video by the palace? It would have also been presumably easier to just put out some kind of a written statement. They wanted everybody to hear from her directly.
I mean, that's a really good point. I think their hand has been forced. There was the old adage under the Queen that you never explain, never complain, you get on. But that was in the pre-social media days. And what we've seen since Kate disappeared off the radar, if you like, in January, is this growing swell of conspiracy theories and goodness knows what. And I think this, if nothing else, this video that she's had to sort of pose for, which I'm sure she would.
That's an interesting idea, that the Kate announcement occurred at roughly the same time of the Moscow shooting. I'm going to argue it probably is a coincidence, but it is something that's worth pointing out. Yeah, so again, this is all breaking news regarding the terrorist shooting at the concert hall in Moscow. A pretty damning video of these shooters entering, available on Twitter. And what I'm going to do is, if you want to see those videos, I don't want to play them here, but I want you to be able to if you wanted to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add them to, I guess the easiest way, I hate saying this, but the easiest way to view it is going to be to like them. So if you go to my @RealMeatKevin, I'm going to like some of the posts So you could go to @RealMeatKevin on Twitter, and then you can go to likes on the right side, and you'll be able to see some of the footage, some of it which is not really at all worthy of liking. Again, I want to make that very clear. These are very gruesome and terrible videos, but again, this is what's available, and so I'm just providing awareness to that. It does look like you have some special response vehicles showing up. Let's take a look here. This looks like it's right outside the concert hall. Looking at some more clips and footage of law enforcement responding to the shooting in Russia. It's pretty terrible. Firefighters trying to go in. I'll show this half right here. So this is what appear to be firefighters looking to enter the building, or maybe treating individuals by the floor. You've got... This is the worst terror attack in Russia in 2 decades, apparently. And this is as we go into the 3rd year of fighting in Ukraine. Special forces are apparently storming the building. Whether or not the fire is completely extinguished at this point is unclear. You do still have a helicopter trying to extinguish the fire as of the last 6 minutes in Russia. So again, this comes at the same time as we have Kate Middleton announcing that she has cancer. Unclear whether that's reproductive organ, stomach, or otherwise, but she did undergo surgery in her abdomen in January.
Duncan, we now have 2 very prominent members of the royal family, one of them the monarch himself, who have withdrawn from public view battling cancer. What will the effect be on the royal family in terms of its public presence over the months ahead?
Well, I think there's a twofold with that, really. I mean, yes, it's difficult for the royals, and it's obviously horrendous, frankly, for them to have to face this. Kate and Charles are the 2 most popular members of the royal family. But I think actually, thinking longer term than that, I think the outpouring of public support, this is not going to do them any harm in the long run. The King is popular and Kate is incredibly popular, and I think this just will mean an outpouring of support for them. I think where they go wrong is where there's secrecy, and in the gulf of secrecy come conspiracy theories. Now we really know the situation. I think that the public will really rally behind both the King and Kate.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's terrible. Everybody would. I think the public feels a little more disappointed that you have, frankly, what is somewhat, how should I say, like, it was a little quite deceiving to have the Photoshop image. And what did it buy them? A couple weeks, right? So the Photoshopped image was insincere, and I understand it's a very challenging time for the royal family, but, this stuff happens, and often transparency is so much more important. So, but I understand it's highly sensitive, and we can't even begin to understand the drama. So, okay, so we have this update on Kate Middleton. We have this update on Russia. I am reviewing the tape right now to see what else we have. We're not seeing much of a movement in markets. You are seeing Embraer is kicking butt today. Just a quick note on markets. Embraer is a stock I've been exposed to for a while. It's a plane manufacturer. It's a great, fantastic company. I'm a big fan of them. But as far as looking for more updates here on either Kate Middleton or what's going on in Russia, we'll keep peeking around here for a moment. So let's go to Let's jump here for a moment. See if we can get a little bit here. Okay. Nope, I can't. Okay, fine. They're all on commercial. Fine then. I will get my own updates. Oh, yeah, here's another solid photo of what that fire looks like. Take a peek at this photo right here. This is showing you the fire present in the concert of Moscow, or the concert hall in Moscow. This is a pretty big deal, given that you've got, this is probably the largest concert hall in Moscow, if not the largest concert hall in Moscow. So substantial breaking news on multiple fronts here. Okay, I think that is it in terms of updates. So let's just do a quick summary. Kate Middleton has cancer. It's unclear what kind of cancer. She underwent stomach surgery in January. It could be abdominal, well, which could be anything. It could be uterus. It could be stomach. It could be HPV. I don't know if cervical cancer would be considered abdominal. I'm not that I would question. So maybe not. But any type of speculation over what stage she's on is really just that. It's speculation. She does talk about preventative chemotherapy, which could mean you had a larger stage of cancer in something that was removed, and you're trying to use chemo to sort of eliminate what else could be left. At the same time, we have an attack in Moscow's likely largest concert hall, the Crocus Concert Hall, that has the likely largest occupancy in the city. We're expecting over 40 are killed, over 100 wounded. An attack underway at both the shopping center and concert hall. 4 gunmen moved in. Well, 3 of them looked like gunmen from the video. 3 of them were shooting. There are 6,200 potential seats in the Moscow Concert Center, and this was a sold-out show. Problem is, there's some talk about rescuers not being able to extinguish the fire as quickly as they could because of the special forces response that was being waited for, and supposedly both are on scene now fighting. It's unclear if the gunmen have been eliminated yet. It's unclear who's responsible for it, and we are uncertain if hostages are being held at the moment, but we do know the State Department released an alert 2 weeks and 1 day ago, so 15 days ago, encouraging people not to go to concerts or public gatherings specifically in Moscow. So it does look like U.S. intelligence was correct in this terrorist attack, and in warning of the terrorist attack, it does look like the U.S. government U.S. intelligence was wrong in the timing of the attack, given that the timing of the attack appears to have been later. It's also possible that the attack was purposefully delayed, given that U.S.'s warning of the imminent attack, wanted to be, maybe terrorists wanted to separate themselves from that warning. Reuters is reporting that 18 are dead and 43 are wounded, so we're getting conflicting reports on how many are dead and how many are wounded. Again, I've liked a few tweets. Not that I like them, but it's just to so you can see it on Twitter. Go to Real Meat Kevin on Twitter. You can follow me there. And then if you go to the likes tab, you could see some dramatic footage that we did not want to show here on YouTube to minimize or to follow the YouTube rules, rather. As far as the response, the Moscow government, Russian government is calling for an investigation into this. White House has stated that there's no indication that Ukraine is involved in this terrorist attack. Of course, that is going to be the speculation that this is going to be used as a false flag to further invade Ukraine. We don't know. And so National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby is encouraging people not to speculate that Ukraine is involved and await further evidence. The same is true with Kate Middleton, awaiting further evidence on what is potentially happening with Kate Middleton. This is very, very unfortunate that a lot of this is happening. We have more. It looks like there's yeah, okay. Yeah, all right, I'm just seeing footage here of more fire department response to the concert at the moment. Let's listen in here for a moment to see the coverage here.
Rest. When initially asked if it was cancer, the palace said no. Her absence and the lack of information about her condition fueled...
It is possible that they didn't think it was cancer at first, that they thought it was a benign tumor, and then biopsies revealed that it was indeed cancerous. That is possible. Context switching again back to this.
Endurance. The flight of Harry and Meghan amid accusations of racism within the royal family, the death of Queen Elizabeth, the cancer diagnosis for King Charles back in February. Now with the news of Kate, how does the British public react?
Yeah. Oh, quickly, an update. The capacity of that concert hall is actually 9,500. But it is claimed that 6,200 were in the hall at the time of the attack.
What has the reaction been?
Yeah, we don't know the type of cancer that Kate has.
The world by shock.
And I don't think it's a matter of taking a day to diagnose the cancer. I think they already know. This surgery took place in January. They should know within, well, a day of January, basically, on the biopsy. Maybe that's what you meant. I think it's already known what the type of cancer is. It's just not being revealed at the moment. I think Lauren is right when she claims that Kate Middleton is probably wearing a wig here to cover up that she has lost her hair. She's probably been undergoing a couple months now of chemotherapy to eliminate potential residual cancer or prevent further growths.
Around their future queen with condolences and sympathies for her. I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about a mother of 3 young children who had to then...
It's terrible, terrible. 42 years old? Come on. I mean, cancer's terrible for everybody. 42?
Sort of in many ways drawing a red line here, putting this information out. We saw her, we heard her from her own mouth exactly what she's dealing with as a way of trying to stop the conspiracy.
Agreed, Barbara. I think this was the correct way to address the speculation. It was honest, it was straightforward, and it is terrible and unfortunate.
See her out in the public again. It's possible. She's eager to get back to her work, as she said, but her focus right now is on a full recovery. The palace also saying that we will not expect to see her at Easter services next weekend with her family as we typically do. They're not giving details on what type of cancer, how long she has been receiving the treatment, how long she will continue to receive this preventative chemotherapy treatment. But again, the big takeaway here is that she is dealing with cancer and that the family is asking the world for privacy.
Megan Fitzgerald reporting for us.
My goodness, a commenter here wrote, my sister died at 31 of ovarian cancer, mom at 51 of pancreatic. That's so terrible. That's so terrible. It's a horror. Just like the attack in Russia is horrible.
Wales, I should say, an extraordinary statement from her, actually. But, I mean, terrible press management, frankly, by Kensington Palace.
Sorry to hear that, Dave. Dave had his cancer, or had a wife with cancer here in the comments, stage 4, 2013. It's freaking terrible.
Mob cries of where is the princess and the insane conspiracy theories, when in fact all that's happened, and it's very sad, is that she's been diagnosed with cancer. Why not tell us that? Why not let her get on with her recovery, which is obviously 100% her priority? And
going back to the Russia disaster, it looks like the Russian foreign minister is now questioning the basis of the statement that Ukraine was not involved in the shooting. Russia doesn't believe it. That's bad. Because now, the fact that you're already fighting that makes me wonder if this is potentially, the start of implying a false flag. So that's not great. Russian Foreign Ministry questions the basis of the U.S. statement claiming Ukraine was not involved. That's really bad. This is now coming... This is basically implying a potential move towards, an expansion of the war in Ukraine. That's very, very bad. I don't like to hear that at all. So we are trying to get more updates on this right now. But the Moscow shooting is a problem. and blaming the United States again, claiming that Ukraine is not involved, but Moscow questioning the basis for that. A lot of people on social media suggesting that Kate Middleton potentially conveniently released her statement during a time of the shooting. I don't know. We don't have a basis to believe that is indeed true, but it is worth noting that the mainstream media is covering only Kate Middleton here. I have not seen any coverage so far from the mainstream media on the Moscow attack, and this is a major escalation in the potentially major escalation in the conflict here. The roof is now collapsing of the concert hall where the shooting took place near Moscow, and that's also very bad. Oh, goodness gracious. We are waiting for, it looks like Reuters has a feed of some of this coverage. Trying to see if I can get a little bit more on this. Let's see. Okay, let's listen in here for a moment on the Kate disaster.
Something. We don't know what. Then, as you say...
Oh, I was interviewed by Martha, by the way, when I ran for governor in person. That was great in Beverly Hills. She's nice. It's a giant crew they travel with, though.
And, we're trying to figure this out based on what they say, but we don't have all the information, obviously. So would you refer to it as preventative chemotherapy only if there was no evidence that there was remaining cancer, but just because you want to make sure you can knock out anything that you might not see yet?
That's right. So not everyone calls it preventative.
Yeah, okay, we're going to pull off of that preventative for a moment. Let's just go ahead and look at this. This is footage. It looks like Reuters coverage. This is video a Reuters reporter has captured on the Moscow shooting from the outside. Looks like somebody sort of walking up to the concert hall here.
Это мой телефон другой, я на другом лайвью. Все, давай. Ага.
This looks like it's where the shopping plaza is. You can see the police presence there on the right by the flags. I'm just skipping around a little bit here. Okay. Come on. Oh, does their feed get stuck there? Oh yeah, their connection drops a little bit. This is from Reuters, by the way. Just sort of outside the concert hall. Okay, I'll see if we can get that stream back in just a moment. Let's go over here.
Disease. Now, at the end of the chemotherapy course, they often will take some blood work to check for tumor markers and do more imaging. And again, if there is no evidence of disease at that time, she may be labeled disease-free. And that is the most we can hope for this princess and her family. And certainly the way that it sounds, that they probably caught it early on, seemed like it was localized, and she's already doing everything she can to prevent it from coming back. She's giving herself the best chance of living a long and healthy life and seeing those kids grow old.
Obviously.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. That's what you would expect. Take a look at this. Some more footage outside the concert hall here. So clearly what looks like a National Guard presence or something severe outside the concert hall here. You can see hospitals or ambulances in the back. Stretchers. Okay. Here you've got what looks like firefighting. What is that? That almost looks like it's like a water bucket that's on fire, that's being dragged by the helicopter. You see that? Because I think the helicopter is being used to help extinguish the fire, and that helicopter looks like it's dragging a bucket that's on fire. That's intense. So, Russian Telegram channels are claiming that 4 out of 5 were able to flee the scene. Yeah, 5 to 10 potential terrorists, large black beards, bulletproof vests, shooting people at point blank range. This is just terrible, and this is a terrible attack on Moscow, a concert venue. Again, innocent individuals here being murdered for the politics of others. Very, very, very scary. So, looking for more updates here on both Middleton and Russia. I am very concerned, though, about the questioning by the Russian foreign minister of the United States' statement that Ukraine was not involved. And so that is where you get your World War III threats.
Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has announced that she also was diagnosed with or had surgery to remove something that they thought was non-cancerous, which is what we were originally understood, and apparently what she originally understood as well, and now has dealt with a subsequent pathology report of some kind that has shown that there was some cancer, and they're trying to prevent that cancer from spreading, is the best assessment that we have right now. Dr. Sapphire, thank you so much. Always good to have you with us. So joining me now is UK media correspondent and royal reporter Neil.
I'm just surprised you still have zero coverage on all of this from mainstream media. They're just not covering the Moscow disaster at all. And so that does surprise me, because we've been covering this Moscow shooting for quite a while here. Let me see. Let's listen in here.
But the Russians are now...
Oh, look, they're finally covering it.
...condemn these attacks. Now, there is, as we heard from the White House just now, there has been a lot of division within Russia. This is something that we're seeing on the political level. There were recent elections that were widely slammed as being essentially fraudulent. And so this has, opened up a lot of ruptures within Russian society that were already quite sensitive because of the ongoing war in Ukraine. So as authorities go about the business of trying to figure out who did this attack, a lot of speculation is almost certainly going to be falling on the Ukrainians. At the same time, this is going to raise a lot of memories of what happened back in Moscow back in 2002 when there was an attack, a hostage situation involving a lot of children on a theater in Moscow. That was perpetrated by the Chechen terrorists at the time. And that was a very, very bloody massacre. So
one of the Chechen leaders has already come out condemning this attack. Not saying they weren't involved. I'm not implying that they were. I'm just saying.
Going to be appearing in a lot of the domestic political discussion there as time goes on, as we're starting to hear more and more people discussing the war.
Matt, in trying to figure out what this concert hall is, it looks like it's a venue kind of like the Met here in New York City or Carnegie Hall. It's a proper concert hall with a stage and tiered seating. From video that appears to be posted from the actual incident that you can see on Russian social media, it's pretty scary. And there are a lot of folks inside, a lot of folks that appear to be trapped. Do we know if authorities have been able to catch the gunman? Is the shooting still ongoing?
That's something I'm going to have to get back to you on, because I don't actually know, and I think it is still somewhat ongoing. That's something this is really just happened, so we're still getting a lot of details. But we're already hearing statements from public officials asking for sympathy from the rest of the world. So this is something that, when you talk about whether or not it's ongoing, certainly the police operation trying to figure out who perpetrated this attack is only just beginning, and that could be quite an invasive and quite disruptive effort to try to find out who did this, because as we know now, the Russian security state is growing stronger and stronger as it's been enlisted to crush dissent against Vladimir Putin and against the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, there was an election just a few days ago. Matt Bradley, Matt.
Exactly. Let's listen into the BBC's reporting on this.
Now, just before we move on, I just want to return to those stories, those lines coming out of Moscow that I referred to a little earlier. And I just want to take you through the latest details that we know, because reports coming in from the Russian capital that people are being evacuated from a concert hall near Moscow. We've been hearing these initial reports in the last half hour. The Russian news agency is reporting that at least 3 people dressed in camouflage opened fire, and some people have been reported as wounded. Pictures,
probably 4 or 5 now,
media show casualties apparently lying on the ground. This is apparently at Crocus City Hall near to Moscow. There are also reports of a blast and also a fire in the building. Details coming in all of the time, but we're trying to verify those reports and get more details on it. But certainly there are more details coming in all the time. Gregory Zaganov is in the newsroom and is also trying to get more information on this breaking story. Gregory, what more can you tell us?
Yes, hi. So at this moment, we still trying to get as much information as possible, because this news broke out just very recently. From the very fresh line which I'm getting is that the firefighters, they cannot start working with fire because they are waiting while special forces will arrive on the place. As far as I understand from what video we seen already in the recent 5-10 minutes, there were quite a lot of people in this concert hall at the moment when this incident occurred. And yes, from these reports, but I have to underline that these reports which we are getting, they are now mainly publishing in anonymous Russian Telegram channels, though the amount of information and the amount of video which we are receiving can sort of lead us to the conclusion that this is really what is happening, and there was at least heavy fighting. This is what we have.
Yeah, take a look if you want to see the actual shooting. Go to my Twitter, @RealMeatKevin. Go to the likes tab. Not that I like it, but it's just so you could see it. I don't know how else to do it without sharing it. And then you could see some of the footage, some of the video footage of the attackers, and it's absolutely disgusting. So looks like more special forces, a lot more special forces showing up. Look at the amount. Stand by right here. Look at the amount of special forces showing up here. Wow, it's a lot.
We're hiding when the shooting started. People started hiding, and some of them, they were hiding for 10 to 15 minutes before they were able to move.
Gregory, sorry to cut across you, but the latest reports being reported by the TASS news agency now saying for the first time there are dead. We had known about wounded, but they're saying there are dead and wounded after the shooting at this concert hall near Moscow. I assume at this very early stage we have no idea what lies behind this.
No, another important update. According to one of the Telegram channels, inside there could have been up to 100 people, and also. The witnesses are reporting that there were 3 people in camouflage, in military uniform, who started firing, and we are...
Again, we think that's up to somewhere between 4 to 5 now.
Have more understanding of what exactly has happened.
As you were saying, but it is worth repeating that the Reuters news agency has seen video footage now of smoke billowing out of this building. So there were reports of an explosion, there were reports of a fire, and it is worth saying, just tell me, because initially it seemed to be reports in Moscow, in terms of the location of this is not...
It does look like there's several gunmen still inside holding hostages in the actual concert, at least from what we're hearing.
understand the analogy of this M25, which is encircled the capital. This is a big circle road which encircles Moscow, and this is a concert hall which is near that road. But nevertheless, this is where big concert halls are often located, and again, this was the place where at this moment was a concert of one of the musical groups, and again, according to some of the reports, up to 100 people could have been inside the building at the moment when all this occurred.
Greg, thanks very much for the...
Well, I think that's wrong regarding 100 people inside. It was a sold-out show with 6,500 inside. The capacity is closer to 9,600, so I think there are substantially more individuals inside at the time. But this is the BBC reporting here, and they're done with that report. Okay, fine. Okay, let's flip on over and see what some of our mainstream media has to say, if anything else. Let's listen in here.
You know, sort of hounding this poor lady over a few Photoshop mistakes, and then...
These are not Photoshop mistakes, bro. That's straight up manipulation. That's a big difference, bro.
For which we now know. But, you know, that would have played on Catherine's mind because, you know, she's a lady that takes everything very seriously. And as I mentioned before, let's not forget, you know, she took her photography and does take her photography very seriously. In fact, Queen Camilla commissioned her to take those very beautiful pictures of her for her 75th birthday on the magazine cover. So, you know, there's a very great bond there. And then to be picked apart when you're battling through this. And whenever people say, oh, you know, the royals don't read the newspapers are delivered every day. They do know exactly how they're represented in the media. And I have found that particularly distressing for her because it wasn't like she did anything tremendously bad. It was just a few taps of the phone or whatever, you know. Did it really matter? But that pushed ahead. There has been also other negative stories around her.
Wow.
And one has to...
Look at this of Moscow, by the way. Holy smokes. Look at how many police are there. And ambulances.
For literally going public. There's no two ways about that. I think that really gives her a sense of ownership of her own narrative, her own story. And I just really want to wish her, I'm sure everybody does watching your program today, all the very best. I mean, you know, all of our good wishes and God bless.
Neil, thank you so much. Neil Sean joining us from London.
Yeah, again, this is more on Kate Middleton. We're sort of context switching between the two. Russian intelligence saying 40 dead, waiting for more updates on this. Let's see. The biggest fear I have is the disaster of what happens after this now. You know, does Russia think this was an attack by Ukrainians? There is I mean, these individuals are fully camouflaged. We only know that they potentially had long black beards in their you know, in how they were, what their appearance was. And waiting to see if we can get more insights. Let's listen in here.
According to the Russian Foreign Ministry in Moscow at a concert hall, Russian media is reporting 40 dead. They say there are 70 ambulances on scene. The roof of this concert hall, which is akin to Carnegie Hall here in New York.
Oh, it looks like a suspect may have been caught. Also, the Moscow airport is now being locked down for fear of further aggression. There is one suspect here I'm going to put on video. Let's see. Now, we're going to want to know if this... Now, I mean, first of all, it's good news that one of the suspects is caught alive. Because what you want to do is interrogate this person. Putin's going to be a little pissed at this guy. I don't even want to know what Putin's going to do, but whatever it is, hell yeah. Because if this person was involved in the shooting, this is a complete disaster. So we'll see if we can get some more info on this particular person.
People that are quite upset about Navalny and his death, and were, advocates for what they would say is democracy inside Russia. Separate from that, you've got several different scenarios that have been unfolding over the last year.
Here's video of the roof starting to collapse. Wow. Large chunks of that roof coming down.
Months later, he dies mysteriously in a plane crash. Those, individuals also quite upset with Putin and his regime. And you combine that with many veterans who've come back or been drafted and forced to go to Ukraine and have come back, seeing, just the staggering number of casualties on the battlefield. That could be another sort of coalition of people that has grievance. And really the fourth one I think we should not underestimate either is the Islamic State and ISIS remnants. Going back 20 years, there have been Islamist terrorist attacks based around the fight in Chechnya. There was a high number.
Let's listen in here for a moment. This is just sort of a shot inside.
Over the last decade.
Oops. You can hear that shooting. Wow, that's intense. Yeah, looks like there's some disturbance initially and people don't really know what's going on, and then they start hearing more of the shooting. That's scary.
Jim, I want to bring you in this. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, Clint is spot on. I mean, I think all of us in law enforcement and analysts who watch this stuff constantly and also watch the war in Ukraine every day, we don't really go to like Ukraine, because Ukraine, if you watch the targets they've been hitting recently on Russian soil, it's all logistics. It's all military targets. They hit military airports, they hit fuel depots, they hit trains that are carrying tanks.
Ukraine has now denied involvement in this attack. That's what the U.S. believes as well, and Russia is like, prove it, bro, which isn't great.
U.S. that they should be doing that's how they're going to hurt the war effort. And President Zelensky in the past has before said, that they are not interested in hitting civilians and killing civilians. They're suffering that fate in Ukraine. So you can't say it wasn't them, but it'd just be totally out of character to anything they've done before to attack a large civilian gathering like this. It gives them no military benefit. But
other shopping centers, by the way, now being evacuated as well. This is a Galleria in Russia. Basically, everything's being evacuated. Airports, public gathering spaces, just in case there are additional or future attacks. As far as the individual here saying there's no strategic advantage for Ukraine doing this, that's sort of a way of arguing, like, how does Ukraine attack Russia doing this? Well, I think you could always make an argument that any kind of pressure on Russia is pressure on the Russian government to minimize their movement into Ukraine, right? So we're not sure who's behind this, but no matter what, there's one thing you can guarantee, and that's the internet will be speculating.
Knock out the terrorists and wound up, killing most of the people with the gas. So that was a total fiasco. But that was Chechen separatists. So there's a lot swirling around inside Russia. That it could be, it certainly could be Islamists like Al Qaeda or ISIS. It could be Chechen.
There is a vehicle that is suspected to be of the terrorists that is now being surrounded as a potential bomb threat. So it does look like with one suspect in custody, some more of the pieces of the puzzle and information are slowly coming together. Waiting to see, obviously, what additional information we can find. Right now, we did see that one suspect at least being arrested here, waiting to find out if there are additional details we can learn. This is a very, very news and shocking day, with both Kate Middleton announcing her cancer diagnosis and as well as this attack in Moscow. Pretty intense. The time presently in Moscow is about 10:31. This shooting appears to have started at around approximately 9 p.m. Yeah, it's just so terrible. Let's keep listening to, we'll go here.
Talking about what was actually happening inside, that 3 gunmen came in camouflage, which...
I don't know why their audio sucks so much. Let me try a different source.
Look at sites just like this, some of these horrible scenes of mass panic. That is likely what could have caused some of the other injuries. We know as many as 100 people have been wounded after about 5 gunmen who were dressed in camouflage came in to that concert hall and started opening fire. We know as many as 70 ambulances responded to the scene as flames broke out from the building. Again, this mass panic at a time where there's
it's worth noting this. There are the U.S. The U.S. has essentially argued, hey, we are not suspecting Ukraine. Moscow has now responded twice saying, why do you think that? And then followed up a second time and said, the evidence the U.S. is providing that Ukraine is not involved is too weak to rule Ukraine out. That's not good. Many victims of the terrorist attack have managed to get home and only then asked for help. Signals of wounded people are coming from different points of the capital. Many gunshot wounds. I'm just sort of reading some commentary here. Let's keep listening.
Police on the scene trying to not only contain the fire, but to be able to respond and give aid to those who were simply watching a concert tonight when all of this played out. But we'd heard from the U.S. Embassy in recent days warning that there could be some kind of extremist attack in Moscow.
No, that wasn't in recent days. That was actually 15 days ago. That's a big deal because the warning called for an attack within 14 days and clearly, within 48 hours, and it happened within 15 days. So a little bit of a miss on the exact imminency, but I think that's an important distinction.
From the scene with the sea of ambulances, police officers, crowds waiting outside as we see the flames and the smoke pouring out of this building. So a terrifying development on top of what you've been covering, Martha, such sad news here in the UK, more escalation overseas as we continue to watch these really horrifying live pictures. And anyone at home can likely imagine just how terrifying that would be to be out at a concert with your loved ones and your friends, to hear gunfire go off and to have 5 people dressed in camouflage with these weapons. Just, Martha, a terrifying day.
Alex, thank you very much.
Yeah, no kidding. Again, one suspect here appears to have been taken into custody, evaluating if we can get some more insight here into exactly what's going on. Yeah, not great. Okay, let's keep listening in.
Correspondent Benjamin Hall, who has been doing double duty on these 2 breaking stories for us, joins me now from London as well. Ben, is there any thoughts so far as to who might have carried out this attack? We just saw an election, obviously, re-electing Vladimir Putin in whatever circumstances the election were, locking in his power. And now we have this just days later.
Yeah, no evidence yet to who it could be. But you have to think back to the 90s and the thousands in Russia, when there are a whole lot of terror attacks in principal Russia by people from Chechnya and Dagestan. And that ended up actually with a big war inside Chechnya when Putin pushed back. And look, this could be a very significant event in Russia because you don't know the way in which Vladimir Putin could respond to one of these. And in the past, has used events like this as an excuse to launch attacks, to show the country that they are under attack and to continue to gain power himself. So, yes, the elections have just finished. There is some angst against the war in Ukraine. So we have to see how this one will play out. It was in early March when the US and 6 other Western countries actively reached out to Russia. This is a few weeks ago, and said, we have evidence that there is going to be an attack, a terror attack in Russia. And a couple days later, the Russians arrested some people from ISIS-K. That is the ISIS movement inside Afghanistan.
Ah, I did not know that about ISIS-K potentially having been involved earlier. How interesting.
The Western intelligence is ridiculous. We're not going to have any attacks here. So it's very interesting to watch. And it reminds us, of course, of the Bataclan attack that we saw in 2015 at that concert.
That was in Paris.
Now, we don't have the exact numbers. 40 dead, that number likely to rise, 100 injured. And we know that the FSB, the state services, they stormed the building soon afterwards. But again, some of the videos coming out online right now show real gruesome killings. And some of the flames suggest there could have been incendiaries in there as well. So, devastating to see this up front, but we have to wait to see what Vladimir Putin might do with it, whether or not it might lead to something else. And it could be a very significant event.
Yeah, as you pointed out, my mind went immediately back to 2002 and the storming of a theater by Chechen terrorists. And then the Russian military came storming in there, and you had people who were taken hostage in that situation. And eventually, the storming of that building by the Russian security services led to the death of 172 people. This is a different situation.
Yeah, I think this honestly might be higher. I think hundreds of people are probably dead here, and it's terrible because, it's just 5 armed people, 4 of them with automatic rifles. It's a problem. We've watched it. They keep playing this on loop. We played that at the beginning of this live stream. This was her acknowledgement of her cancer. Not to downplay it, but I try not to be too repetitive here.
Right. And I was just speaking in Kiev online. That's why I haven't read the news at the Kiev Security Forum. I was online. Most people were in person. And in that crowd, they were talking about Russian terrorist attacks in Ukraine every single day, including on their capital just last night. And many Americans who are attending that conference in person spent several hours in the bunker last night. And so it is important to remember that from the Ukrainian perspective, and it's a perspective I share, there is literally terrorist attacks on innocent civilians in Ukraine every single day. And that's why, when things like this happen, people immediately think, well, maybe this is tit for tat. But again, we don't know that for sure. We have no evidence.
Yeah, that's a good observation that, you can see it as retaliation. Again, it's not confirmed. The U.S. disagrees with it. Ukraine disagrees with it. But yeah, that speculation is going to occur no matter what. The greater issue here is really, how does this turn into a response from Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin? Is this going to lead to a, strengthening response in Ukraine? We've already seen China and Russia respond to the ceasefire suggestion in the United Nations with a denial, with a veto of a peace deal, or at least ceasefire for the time being. And this being rejected is, partly due to language, but also partly due to, potentially spiting the U.S. So there is a lot of animosity between the United States and Russia right now, and none of this contributes to a resolution, which leads everybody to be much more fearful about, World War III fears. Obviously, this occurring at the same time as Kate Middleton releases her cancer diagnosis. We don't know what kind of cancer, what stage it is, but we do know that her husband canceled going to an Easter event where he was scheduled to speak just a few days ago to presumably be with the family and Kate. So it's possible that the cancer situation could be much more exigent than is presently being led on, and sort of, dare I say, releasing the news slowly. It's very sad, very terrible. Cancer is something nobody should wish upon anyone. At the same time, we are looking for some more information on exactly who the perpetrators are of this Moscow incursion, this attack on a very populated concert hall in Moscow. And we're getting, looking for more updates, rather. Let's listen in over here. Oh, they're on the same Reuters screen.
Got settled. And so it will, of course, wake up a lot of Muscovites to whatever this new threat might be, particularly younger Muscovites.
Quick reminder that today there is an expiration of the Stocks and Psychology Money and Course coupon code located at meetkevin.com. We did some trading again today. We've been trading for the last couple of weeks here. It's been going overall very well. We have all those alerts going to those in the Stocks and Psych group. But really, if you want to be part of not just the lectures, but the lifetime access to the course member live streams, we do every morning Q&A, fundamental analysis, technical analysis. Make sure you join in on that. You get lifetime access when you pay once, so it's a great deal. If you've already joined one of the courses, make sure you bundle up and join to... or send us an email at staff@meetkevin.com to bundle up before the expiration tonight at 11:59 p.m. And if any of this makes you nervous regarding World War III, make sure you also have life insurance that you can get within as little as 5 minutes. Apple or Android Pay for it at metkevin.com/life. That's MET, metkevin.com/life. It's the same life insurance Lauren and I use. You can get it in as little as 5 minutes. So looking for more updates. We've got markets set to close in about 18 minutes. You've got NASDAQ slightly positive, Apple positive by about 1%. You've got NVIDIA up 2.5% at the time of this recording. Bitcoin at 63.8. Little movement here after both the Cape Middleton and Kremlin, or rather Moscow attacks.
Extremists and terrorists. They range from Al-Qaeda to Meta, the company, to the late Navalny. Today, by the way, they added the LGBT movement to that list. This is according to state media in Russia. Michael, are you sure that we'll ever know from the Russian side who did this? Will they be honest in reporting who did it?
I'm not sure. Of course, I'm not sure. And in fact,
okay, well, that's pretty boring. Some of you have kind of looked for a little bit of an update on or sort of how we share things on in the Course Member Live. We did this on Federal Reserve Day, just so you can see it. This was the way we sent out one of our alerts. We made this in our Course Member Live together. Exactly how to react in the event that the Fed goes for 4.8, 4.7, or 4.6. We sort of broke out which trades to do. These ended up being the correct move for that day and even the next day. So it's interesting. These are some of the things just as a sample that we talk about. Let's keep getting news here, as we do know that one suspect has been arrested, but we're still waiting to get details on what nationality they are and what group they might be with. Okay. Let's see here.
Treatments. And of course, the princess and the king have the ability to get access to all those treatments. And I think she was being honest in saying she feels good. She is confident that she will be, that she will be well.
All right, and a little more on Cape Middleton here. But in the meantime, Putin's apparently receiving regular updates on the shooting that has occurred. Waiting for, obviously, what kind of reaction could come out of this. One person detained, and the Russian police haven't given us too much of an update. John Kirby did state 2 weeks ago they issued a notice to all Americans. Let's listen to this for a moment.
Hopefully you saw our State Department, our embassy there, put out a notice to all Americans in Moscow to avoid any large gathering, concerts, obviously shopping malls, anything like that, just for their own safety. They should stay put where they are and stay plugged into the State Department for any additional updates and information. I'm afraid that's really all I have on that. Now, in Ukraine, today Russia launched a massive wave of. I've also seen, hopefully you saw.
Yeah, that was just a short clip there from the press conference, John Kirby's. We are still looking for more potential updates, but it does look like at the moment we've exhausted most of the updates on the multiple disasters that are going on, both Cape Middleton and her cancer diagnosis, as well as what's happening in Moscow, where hundreds are presumed to be dead. About 40 plus are confirmed to be dead at the moment, with 5 attackers. It is unclear at this point what this means for Ukraine. Ukraine and the United States denying Ukrainian involvement. The United States, Moscow responding that the United States has weak evidence to claim that Ukraine is not involved in this, which is not exactly what you want to hear because it does escalate tensions and makes some start questioning the potential for a Russian retaliation for this attack. This is very devastating, and we're going to pay attention to it. So with that, I think we've covered as much as we could here. Thank you so much for being here. As always, make sure you join those courses on building your wealth at meetkevin.com. Coupon expires today. And you can email us if you have questions at staff@meetkevin.com, or you'd like to bundle up. We can set a special coupon up for you. Otherwise, the single course prices are listed there. We got an event June 21st to 23rd this summer for finance, innovation, and real estate. It will be very real estate centric. Ross and Ben Mala will be there. And do keep in mind that House Hack, my real estate startup, is also fundraising. So if you are an accredited investor interested in investing in a real estate startup, go to househack.com/2024 to learn more. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye and good luck. Stay safe. And get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes. Go to meetkevin.com/life.